Also in State College this morning is Jon Wortheim, a senior writer for Sports Illustrated. John, good morning.
How you doing?
Good. In light of what has surfaced, the inaction, the gross negligence, to examine the information at hand, did the board have any other choice but to fire Joe Paterno?
I really don't think so. I mean, this has gotten to a point where as more people parsed apart this grand jury testimony and, as public sentiment really swayed against Paterno, some ham-fisted damage control, I think by, pretty early on, well before yesterday, it became clear where this was heading. And Joe Paterno's statements to the contrary, I think the board had little choice but to make the move they did last night.
That statement that he issued yesterday when he said he didn't want the board to waste 1 minute thinking about his future, was that wishful thinking when he said, I plan to retire at the end of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can sense a real rift here starting very early between the university's agenda and Joe Paterno's agenda. Joe Paterno hired his own PR, and you could sort of see this gulf. And I think absolutely yesterday was sort of this preemptive strike by Paterno, but clearly the board disregarded that.
All right, let's talk about the scene on campus right now. I know there was a collective gasp in the room late last night when the announcement was read. On campus, what were you seeing? What was the reaction from the student body been?
Yeah, it was sort of dead. Then you had this announcement, and then you had this flooding to the streets. A couple thousand college students sort of taking over the downtown. This has nothing to do with the allegations. It had really nothing to do with the university losing its president. It was all this impromptu rally for Joe Paterno. And, some of this was just college kids going out, expressing their frustration. Some took it a lot more seriously. I talked to one girl who said, look, I've never lost my grandparents. This is as much grief as I've ever felt. It got a little scary at times. They overturned a news truck, but they really sort of took to the streets. And for a couple hours there, you had a mini riot here in State College.
John, it looks as though the board is just trying to clean house here. Everyone associated with this scandal basically being told to leave and leave immediately. Are any more firings on the way? Mike McQuarrie, for instance, who's still an assistant with the team. Do you think there's more firings on the horizon?
Yeah, I don't think we're done with this yet, and I don't think this investigation is over by any sense. I think that was one surprise from yesterday. You brought that up, that Mike McQuarrie, who was then the grad assistant, now a full assistant coach, was not fired along with the university president and Paterno. I thought that was interesting, and a lot of other people did too. But no, I think there's still more to come here. I mean, we've already lost, basically 4 high-ranking officials, and who knows who's coming next.
Yeah, and I guess the big question will be what happens this Saturday when you try to cram 105,000 people into Happy Valley for that game versus Nebraska on Saturday with no Joe Paterno on the sidelines. John, thank you very much for taking the time here this morning. We appreciate it.